He's not too
If
bad.
you can take one of them seats if you want.
It's,
Sit down there if you want.
Ladies.
They do it all by now. Thank you. Already, so we've got it all. Yeah. Ah.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, members of the public. Apologies for absence.
Ian Mayer's working. Thank you. Catherine Harbour's working. Nancy Turnard. Richard Blackwell and Russell Johnston all the way.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest?
No.
Can I have a proposition to close the meeting for the public session, please?
Yeah.
No, you can move. Right, good evening.
Evening.
Who's going first?
Shall I start?
Yes?
I'd just like to say, Chairman, that I was pretty appalled at the standard of communication at the last meeting between certain councillors. I think that Councillor Tilson acted aggressively, and he was very intimidating while speaking to Councillor Redding. Whilst Councillor Redding was laughing and joking off comments that were made, Councillor Tilson just seemed to be really aggressive in his behaviour, and I think that's really appalling to see, especially when you've got a code of conduct that sets against that. I'd also like to make a point that it was really unfair of the clerk to refuse to pass the budget minutes to Councillor Redding as well, and it ended up going around the table and then eventually getting passed to him, but I think that's frankly beneath you.
Okay, thank you. That's noted. Thank you.
Is there no response to that?
No, it's noted.
Will there be any form of response?
Noted.
It is noted, but will the public get any response of any kind about the complaint about the councillor's conduct? We're asking for a response.
We will look into the complaint from the gentleman, and we will respond as and when. Thank you. Next one, please.
Okay, I have got a copy here of correspondence about the Village Green application. This correspondence is between Dymchurch Parish Council, between our clerk and Kent County Council. So following an email into a communication into Dymchurch Parish Council, we've got a response that our clerk has written here, and the response has been sent just a day later. So communication dated from KCC is 4th of July, and Jill's response is 5th of July. I'd like to know, or we would like to know, if given that this is just a 24-hour period, if Jill's response was representing the councillors, and if that's correct, were all of the councillors consulted before this response was sent to KCC? The response actually requests that as the site is possibly subject to a planning application in the near future, you may wish to consider if this is an appropriate time to register the land as a village green. So can you confirm, was that action and that written on behalf of the council after consulting them, Jill?
Well, actually, you need to go through the chair.
Sorry, Roger, can you confirm that
I
for
will
us?
answer that. As head of administration, I don't need to go through the council for administration issues. I can find out information to give to councillors, so I don't need to ask them if I want to consult on it with administration.
Can you confirm when you do need to consult council responding about a matter that the elected members are representing their community on?
Offhand, I can't give you a response to that, because I don't know what the inquiry is. You know, I'm head of administration.
But there must be a line that determines what you can do on your own.
Find out information.
At what point, there must be a point at which you need to consult council.
I can't give you that point off my head. When I feel that there's a need, then I consult with them. And I give them the information that they need. because that would have been a question that I would have been asked by councillors if we've got a planning application in. Can a village green application be considered? So it was quite relevant for me to ask that information.
Can I have some further information about your role and how much information and what complaints and what issues you can respond to without consultation of the elected members?
Anything to do with administration. I'm head of
I don't think that clarifies what we're looking for.
well, I'm sorry, that's a hard giving.
That is the answer the clerk's given, and I'm not going to get into an argument, debate about it, you know what I mean? The clerk's role is administration, and the clerk is quite entitled to contact anybody for information that she can then give to
But
councillors.
not to give opinion.
Right.
Can I just come in on this point that Sally made to the clerk? So what you're actually saying is then that you as chairman, Mayor, Karen, as Mayor, don't really need to be here because the clerk will make all decisions on your behalf.
No, the clerk won't make decisions on our behalf.
Well, but all right, without consultation of the elected parish councillor, you can say this is what's going to happen. Is that what you're saying?
I
No,
didn't
that's what
say
you
that,
did.
sir. I
Didn't say that.
But you're
Well, that's
happy
what
for
you did.
you're happy for responses to go without finding out what the opinion of council is. How would the council like us to respond to Kent County Council on the matter of the village green proposal? That to me seems like that hasn't happened. And I'm wondering if any of the councillors will be consulted in this process of communication. For instance, your formal objection to the village green application has now been logged with Kent County Council, of which we obviously have a copy. Have all of the councillors, and were all of the councillors informed that an objection would be raised?
Yes,
and did they all
it was
contribute?
It was discussed at council.
It was discussed at council, and that was the feeling of the council that we would, and as I said at the last meeting, I believe that we would be sending in an objection to a village green status.
And that was
Right.
voted on?
Next question, please.
I'd just like to come on to the point of Bank Holiday Monday there, how good it was for the village to be so busy. I don't know whether you were about, Roger.
I was.
You were. So you'd be down at the front
I
with
was.
Boaz Bass, whatever his name was. Are you aware that he was operating without a licence?
Who?
The guy that was doing the music down at the Legion on the beach. He didn't have a entertainer's licence, whatever you call it. And I'll tell you why I know, because I got in touch with Shetway
Yeah.
to see if there'd been one in, and there hadn't been a proposal around that. And you, as chairman of this parish, should have asked, have you got permission to do this? Did you?
Let me tell you something.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Yes, he did have permission.
From who?
From the Royal British Legion, the land that he was on. Right? Thank you, sir.
No, it's not. It got nothing to do with it. It got nothing to do with it. It's a licence where there was people blocking a thoroughfare.
He
Which
had
let me finish. That seawall is a public thoroughfare.
Yes.
And to block it, what happens if 10,000 people had turned up?
Well,
We all fall on top of the Legion.
we didn't organise it.
Right,
Right?
well,
He
and you-
never came to us.
Right.
He had permission. Let me tell you, he had permission for a poppy pill music on that Monday. Right? And he was on the British Legion land. Thank you, sir.
I think I'm not a sir. All right, I don't have that countenance. All right, that's afforded to lords and all the rest of it. I am just Mr. Young from St Anne's Road in Dymchurch, right? And I think you should seriously consider your position as chairman of this parish council by not asking the relevant questions.
The person had permission from the Royal British Legion,
Oh,
right,
okay then.
on British Legion land.
If that's your
I cannot, I've got no jurisdiction over where people stand, sit, play or anything.
If that's your response, then I'll take it up further at
Thank you,
Shetway.
sir. Next
And
question,
please don't
please.
call me sir. I've already asked you not to call me sir.
John Musgrave, 78 Marshbanks. Would I be right in assuming that the parish council has one of these speed machines that you can put on the road to check on the speed of vehicles? This is going on from last month's meeting.
Now, many years ago, in the old councils, yes, they did have a speed machine.
I'm
But-
asked, have we got one, the parish?
No.
No.
We haven't.
No,
We used to have.
we used to have. Many years ago they had one.
Would it not be a good idea then to purchase one and train a few people up to do it? There's plenty of people doing it in High, doing it in Limminge, they're
Okay.
doing it in Stelling Minnis.
Okay, that's noted, sir. We'll look into that.
Thank you.
What's your name, sir?
John Musquin, M-U-S-G-U-I-N.
Thank you for that. We'll look into that. Anybody else? Yes, John.
Right, sure. 2 meetings ago, I raised the question of clearing the footpath that runs across the back of the car parking opposite the school road, whatever that's called. Now, you know the closed footpath? No, it's not closed, but it's very overgrown, so on. Has anything been done about that? I did ask 2 meetings ago. Right? Has anything been done about it?
Down by the,
Opposite Country's Field.
opposite country field.
Next to the garage.
They do it every year.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
It's been
overgrown.
passed on to Sheffield District
Yeah.
Council.
Somebody did actually used to do it, didn't they? They did it
A
on
private
themselves.
person used to do it.
Yeah, a private person used to do
I
it.
believe it's a private.
But I think, if I'm not corrected, Sheffield District Council did go down there and cut it last year. I believe.
I think it might have grown up since then.
Well, but, you know, that's all I can tell you. But we will chase that up.
Report it again.
You know, and we will report that again for you.
Okay, fine. The next question, is there any progress on the children's crossing at the same point?
No, not yet. There's further progress going on with the working group that are looking into it, right? And they haven't got back to us yet on what their progress
Well,
has
could
been.
somebody remind them the kids go back to school again
Yes.
the day after tomorrow?
No, just to tell you that Martin Wildbrow will be here on the October meeting. That is something that we will pursue with him as the Kent County member for this area. So we will be taking it up with him as well.
Okay, next point, the toilets, the paid toilets. At least 2 of them were inoperable all the way through the bank holiday weekend and the week. Has anything been done about that?
We have been on to Shepway District Council again, which own them, right, and we are still waiting a response, and I have been told that the machine mechanism company has gone bust, right, and we did ask that if they couldn't be repaired, they'd be open for free.
And what was the response?
Nothing as yet. We are still waiting for a response.
Oh, well, that's very helpful, isn't it?
Isn't it very helpful?
Right, sure. I'm sure I've got a couple of other things, but maybe we can pick them up as we go along.
Just to carry on with the toilets, because obviously I brought that up last time. Why is the disabled toilet in the public ones by the car park there, the disabled toilet is always locked?
Yeah.
There's no
I don't think
access.
radar
All-
about it.
All through the summer, I've had to allow disabled people into our premises to use the
Is
toilet.
it the one by the bus station?
Yeah, you just can't get in there. And also, over the bank holiday weekend, it ran out of loo roll, so we were supplying loo roll to the public toilets.
Yeah, I am aware of that, and we will be sending a letter to Shepway District Council about those toilets. Okay. Anybody else before John comes back?
I'll have another go. Give it time.
Go on.
Lovely. Roger, got a question about previously, after we visited the pavilion to inspect its state of disrepair, you approached Dina independently and you told Dina that if we formed a group, you're really keen for us to come together and you actually wanted to see good things happen at the recreation ground. You wanted us to form a group and you wanted to work with us to do things.
Yeah.
You seem to have had a complete U-turn again on that now with the objections against Village Green. Clearly there's still a lot of confusion around in the council as to what a Village Green actually means. I'm just wondered if you approaching Dina was a personal approach, or was it as chairman of our parish council? Why you've done that, and now why you've had a complete U-turn now, and back to completely opposing.
It's not a U-turn, let me just explain.
Very confusing.
I
for
do
us.
not want to see that pavilion being pulled down and nothing being put there. I don't see the point in that whatsoever. And I do not see that if they're granted, which I'm led to believe, a village green status, right, you will not be able to build toilets where the pavilion is.
That's
Who
not true
told you
at all.
that?
Right, now, I'm not having an argument with it, I'm just stating
It's
the
just
fact.
not true, though.
I'm
It's not a
arguing.
fact.
Well, okay, that's what you say.
We have a full copy of the
Right.
DEFRA guidance.
I
We have
haven't
full
changed my
advice.
mind at all.
Have you
And
read the
as
DEFRA guidance?
As I said to
read
you,
the guidance.
as I said to you,
So
right,
have you
at
got
the
it wrong
time,
then, Denise?
I understand that because you've excluded the pavilion from the area you on the outside,
Yeah.
you can do something on that side. But it also means that you can't do anything on the whole of the rest of the enclosed area, the area you want to put
That's just
down
not
pavilion.
true.
You can put football posts up, you can put enclosures for sheep up, and a few other things, but you can do very little on the actual, the
It's
rest
just not
of the
true.
land.
And the
Well,
precedent has been set by many, many, many other village greens with village green status.
I did spend that
Which is Bearsted in Maidstone, which has many, many massive events throughout the year. Lots of them I've
Yes,
attended
yes, as
myself.
long as it's temporary.
Lots
yes,
of
you can.
improvements.
Anything
Any
that adds
improvements
to the
That adds to
enjoyment
recreational.
and
Yes.
recreational
Value
use.
and
well,
benefits.
well, we're not going to get into an argument. You won't listen to the councillor, which is trying to
You won't
speak.
listen to us,
Right.
though, will you?
We will, when we have the further information, like yourselves are gathering information, we will get together and we will discuss the information that we have.
You've had
But
6
you-
weeks. You've had plenty of
You
time.
should already have the information. You shouldn't have to find it. You
And-
already know.
Roger, we're saying the council should not be telling anybody in letters or in communications as the council any information that is inaccurate. If you believe it's true, Roger, we're trying to say to you, as I raised with you on Councillor Tilson at the planning meeting, you are misinformed and it's frankly becoming embarrassing. We need you to know exactly what the village green application entails. It isn't our job to constantly come and correct you, and that's what we're trying to prevent.
Okay?
I think it's just worth mentioning before we go out of public session, is that we have sought legal advice from three solicitors. To do-
Sorry, I can't hear you over here.
And I'm very sorry, I can't talk anymore.
They've sought legal advice from 3 solicitors.
Who paid for that?
We paid for it out of our subs to the National Association of Local Councils. And we have sought their legal advice, and it would be ill-advised of us to go against their advice.
Can we get a copy of that advice, Jill?
No, you can't, no.
How about if we
You don't
request a
pay
freedom
for
of
it.
information
Well,
request?
yeah, why can't we have a copy?
Is it not a public document?
Well, why is it outside of a freedom of information request if you've been given that
We-
advice?
we as
It's
a-
all verbal.
We as a council are trying to get the information and all the information that we can, right, regarding, right, the status as a village green and a recreation ground, right, and we're still gathering that information at this present time, right, and then when we get it, we will let you have it, we will let you go through it.
We've already got it. We know.
We've already got it.
Okay.
But how's it verbal? How's it written down?
Can I just have a quick 2 points? Right? I did a lot about reading up the parish councils because I'm a big city boy. I came from London, I'm a DFL. And I've been with the solicitors at a parish thing. And I looked up
I'm
parish.
from London too.
Thanks, man. Parish council. I'm a bit further north in London, but that's beside the point. Parish councils are supposed to act with transparency. Right? This parish council seems to act with a brick wall between you, the councillors, and us, the parishioners. And one last point, then I'll shut up, right? You guys should be proactive to our requests instead of being reactive. You should be in front of us instead of us chasing the other way.
Okay, point taken. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
One more thing. It's about the application for housing. I want to understand, if you can tell me, declaration of interest. If you have an interest in building houses in another company, if you're a director or something like that, do you have to declare it to the public, or do you have a councillors?
Well, yes, we would depend on the application. Whose application?
Well,
is
we
it?
understand that Roger's a director of Opportunitas.
So what?
Those Opportunitas, one of their goals not to identify areas of development, areas for development in Shepway.
No,
No.
I think that's their
what we
only
found,
goal.
That's what we found is actually the case.
no, no.
What is
And we
the...
also found a precedent at Shepway District Council. Susie Govett and another councillor declared their interests in session at Shepway when there was a discussion about planning. They were removed from the session whilst the other councillors voted as to whether to let them back in to have their vote. They declared opportunitas, their directorship,
And so did I.
as a matter of interest.
And so did I.
But you haven't here
And so did
at
I.
any time.
I don't have, there is no
There's
planning
discussion about there's a discussion about housing in Dymchurch.
There is no planning application gone in, and if there were to be a planning application gone in, of course I would declare an interest as chairman of the parish council, like I did last week at a planning application, right? I declared an interest, right?
Right.
But it's not through gain, money or anything like that, but I did.
Okay.
So, once again, you are jumping the gun
We're not
to
jumping
say
the
that
gun.
I haven't declared
We're
an
just
interest.
saying,
Right?
we're just saying that.
No,
We're
yes,
just,
okay.
Dougie's talking about transparency. And
Yeah.
we are saying we're talking here frequently about development on our recreation ground, which is housing development. And you have not mentioned once that you sit as a director on a board of a company who identify areas of land for possible development in Shepway. Now
Right.
that's true, you haven't said that.
Okay.
And Dougie is talking about transparency, as we all are. We're not jumping the gun, we're asking
When
a
a
question.
planning application goes
You seem
in,
to
and
be
if
very
it goes
defensive.
in, I will then declare an interest. At this present time, I do not have to declare an interest, right?
But is it
Because all
true that
we're
you do
doing
sit as a director on Opportunitas?
I do sit as a director on Opportunitas, yes.
And do they
And I have done
identify
for the
areas
last
of
2
land
years.
for development?
No.
What do they do then?
They buy property, right, to let.
Well,
And
Opportunitas
rent.
need to change the information they've published themselves
Right,
about
well,
themselves.
will you get on to Shepway District Council then and Opportunitas and you
As
make
you're
your
a
complaint
director,
to
maybe
them?
you could let them know.
Right, I certainly will. Anybody else got anything else?
Roger, your body language is shocking, by the way.
Yeah, horrifically
Absolutely
aggressive.
shocking.
Right, thank you very much, sir. Right,
Listen,
Big-
for the fourth time,
nothing
I am
else.
not a sub.
Nothing else, that's it, the
John's
public
got one, I
session
think.
is closed.
We've only had 20 minutes, Roger.
Okay.
John's still got something he wants to say.
Oh,
Excuse me.
closed.
Excuse me, can I just make
I've
a
just
point
been
to you? I run this meeting, not you. You do not tell me how long I do with a public session. I will tell you how long the public session is, and if I feel that the public session have had their say, then I will move on to the council's business, right, for the evening.
No, he hasn't.
Thank
Roger,
you.
can I just say, you are very
You can-
aggressive.
John,
I thought
please.
you closed the meeting, you closed the public session.
Closed it or not?
Can I still talk?
Right, okay, if you don't want to speak,
No, I do want to speak, but
Well,
you closed the
speak,
meeting.
please.
Can I speak now?
yes.
Right, you are. What progress is there on the car park planning permission building there? You were looking to build on the car park
That,
of the village hall.
that is, once again, that is an ongoing situation that we find ourselves with. We are gathering the information that we need, right, for the council to make a decision, right, when it comes up for whatever we want to do on there.
And before a decision is taken, will we be involved in any kind of democratic participation?
Absolutely, of course you will.
In the
Right.
same way as we have had so far with the playing field.
Is that it, John? Is that it?
That's it.
Right, thank you very much indeed. Thank you, members of the public. Moving on to approve the minutes of the last meeting, please.
Is that mine?
Can I have a proposition, please? There are two copies of the minutes, please. Yeah. I will delete it myself. Page 1. Do I agree, by the way?
Yes.
For those who's here. Okay. Thanks. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. with correspondence, please.
Thank you. From the National Association of Council, has been advised that the EU regulation, known as the General Data Protection Regulation, and Data Protection Bill will be amended as of 25th of May. This will be very labour intensive. Everything that comes through to the council will need to be registered. Any personal information will be recorded and a register kept, and for what purpose we are keeping the information. It's an EU regulation, so it doesn't need to go through the national legislation. As the bill enters Parliament in autumn, we will be getting clarification on what they regard as personal information. So that's just to keep you notified of the new law. We've received an email from Dymchurch and District Heritage Group. They're interested in an event in the village next year to commemorate the end of World War I. Whilst we will be lighting the beacon on the 18th, there aren't any other plans, but I do believe there are organisations in the village who would perhaps be interested in doing an event.
And what I would like to offer is to all the organisations of the village, right, nearer the time, is to come together and see exactly what we
That's
can
what
do.
we're going to be doing, aren't we?
Yes.
At the end of October, we're going to be doing something with.
So all the organisations that are in the village, that come together and let's talk about, you know what I mean, what we're going to do for this. Okay?
And it would be good.
Thank you.
And the Romney Marsh Forum on Thursday, they've got a special meeting which is to discuss healthcare concerns on Romney Marsh. I don't know if the council wants to go to represent Dymchurch. It's at the Guildhall at 7 o'clock.
No,
Yeah, I can't drive in the dark.
We've heard from the Friends of Martello. They've had a very good visitor response to the Martello Tower.
really good, isn't it?
I haven't got the numbers for this weekend.
I can tell you the numbers for this weekend. It was about 108 on Saturday, and it was 146 yesterday because I did the count yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's had over 2,500 visitors and received over £250 in donations, so that's great for them. Dymchurch Village Hall Management Committee have sent us a copy of their minutes. It's normally just housekeeping issues, but they always send us a copy just to keep us informed. And we've had so many, I've lost count, on the praises and thanking the council for the entertainment of the children's entertainment on the beach.
Oh, yes,
We've had so many people, and the people who are running it have been very well thanked and appreciated, so it's been a very good success.
It's lovely, and people have come in, haven't they, and had the mobiles and everything. Bring something more to the seawall.
That's it.
Thank you very much indeed. Consider planning applications.
Oh, I've got them.
There are some on the television.
Yeah, you can do it.
There's some been granted by Shepway. 37 High Street is going, has agreed to become a CAF.
37?
I don't know which ones it is. They are.
It's
Change of use from retail to cafe on 37. I don't know
It's the
what
one where the next
The
to
veg
the
shop, where the veg shop used to be.
Where the
where the food rush used to be.
is that the one they're
They
doing
just
up
bought
at the
it.
moment?
Yeah, it's going to be a vegetarian.
Vegetarian.
Oh, is that?
Vegetarian.
Vegan.
Vegan?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
that was done by Shepway.
That's approved by Shepway. The land next to the garage, 44 to 46 High Street. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry.
They had the wrong address, didn't they?
Yes, this is this year's application for the
Yeah.
flats has been approved.
Yeah,
The 8 apartments.
with outlines.
Do you want numbers, Jill?
Outlines.
A big pump?
Do you want numbers?
No, I've
Approved
got
with
numbers.
conditions.
Yeah.
It is.
So what are the conditions? Can you just read them out?
The conditions, pages of it,
And I get this pinged through to me, emailed to me.
restricted.
Yeah, height restricted.
expiration.
And also no agreement has been made on the aesthetics of the building. That will be ongoing.
Got to be able to plans, reserve matters, flood risk, flood proofing measures to be taken place.
Yeah.
No more than 3 stories, including the basement. Car parking provision and cycle storage to be within standards. Refuse and recycling.
Basically, nobody knows what it's going to look like
No.
yet because it hasn't. The plans haven't been
No.
put in, have they?
No.
No.
And there was one more. And that's New Beach. New Beach has got the permission with conditions to knock down the present thing, but there's somebody's made a bit of a fuss about that now.
Oh, what, there's the
Clubhouse.
The clubhouse, the whole of
But
that.
somebody said that they weren't going to actually do that. I got permission for that.
Well, no, that
Has
went
anyone been in there
through.
recently?
That went through on the 24th.
That was a resubmission, wasn't it?
Yes, somebody, there's
That's
also,
what's happened.
sorry, I've turned 2 pages, I think.
Someone was against
Because of the actual,
It's
it's sort of too late, so.
Oh, and the other one is felling of 2 sycamores at New Hall Close has gone through.
And what trees are going in the village? Why are they
Well, I
felling
think
the
that's,
sycamore?
oh dear, why are
Haven't
they?
got any
felling them?
trees. Are they diseased?
They're going to replant with something else following them. They've got to replant with another native species.
Where is that? Is that in the churchyard or
It
is
says
that?
Musketeers, New Hall Close, felling of 2 sycamores, both situated within conservation area.
Something to do with the flats.
Musketeers is just
behind
past New
that.
Hall on the left, 2 little houses behind.
Yeah.
They must be in the back garden.
It is,
I think,
so back garden.
Yeah, they've probably got too big. I mean, they are. You know, you get them.
They are.
Oh, this is right. The one that's actually a planning application is change your use to the land adjoining 76 to 78 the High Street, which is the garage, and basically.
The garage opposite the school?
Yeah. They want to sell caravans.
They want to sell caravans?
Looks like it. Site plan. Right. Site. Proposal is for the continued use of land for the display and sale of vehicles. Sounds bad.
A bit of clarification, if I may, Mr. Chairman. I know it's out of order.
No, it's
It's
fine.
regarding this.
The right option.
I am out of order, but that whole field.
You're not allowed to
being
speak.
You're supposed to be.
You're not allowed to speak. Denise, carry on.
Yeah, it says display and sale of caravans. The continued use for sale and display of caravans, increased use for sale and display of caravans, display of sheds for sale, and display and sale of vehicles as well. That is what they're applying for, that they are going to use, they want to use the land to sell caravans and sheds as well as vehicles by the looks of things.
Okay, councillors, well, there's the application.
They've been doing it for the last 20 years.
There,
No.
councillors, there's the application. What do you want to do?
I don't know.
I'm not for it, to be honest.
Are there
I
any
must-
grounds that we can object?
Yeah, is there, are there grounds for objection? This is the trouble.
Yeah, are there grounds for objection? Because basically they've got a caravan
They
now.
have been
They've got
selling
a
caravans.
mobile home on there at the moment.
Well, the only thing you can object on, I presume, would be, well, where's the parking going to be? Where people are going to go and park and go and have a look
Well,
round
they could
and
use part of
whatever?
the land, couldn't they?
Would it be over intensive with the cars, caravans, sheds?
Mm. It depends on how much they want to put on it, isn't it really? I mean, I've got a load of cars on there now.
Well, it's up to you, councillors, to make a decision.
I
think if you're looking at the regulations here, the material consideration and not the visual impact of the street scene.
I think that shed aspect, and I don't think that will come across as very appealing to the visual impact.
I must admit, the visual impact would not be particularly. Is it retrospective?
Retrospective.
They're already using this.
Yeah.
Right, councillors, make a decision.
No.
No.
Right, can I have a proposed and seconded then, please? Proposed, seconded. Councillor Mayers, for refusal.
Yes.
All in favour?
And what grounds?
The visual impact.
impact.
All in favour, show. It's unanimous. Thank you very much for that. Consider payment of accounts, please. I'm quite prepared to move that we accept the accounts.
Yeah, nothing now.
Can I have a seconder, please? Denise, all in favour, please show. Thank you. District Councillors report. Yeah. While I'm doing that, District Council report, nothing to report because in the month of August they seem to have shut down and we don't have a lot of meetings, so nothing to report at this present time. So Chairman's report, I would just like to say it was very, very nice to see a lot of people in the village, especially for the traders. I know there was a problem with the parking, but you know what I mean, how do you stop people coming down to Dymchurch to enjoy themselves on an August bank holiday? There may be some options that the council will be looking at a later date, but very nice to see a load of people in the village for the August bank holiday. Thank you. To receive reports on meetings attended. Has anybody attended any meetings?
No.
No?
No, August inquiry.
To receive the report from working groups?
Not until...
No. Highways and Kent County Council matters. This was put on the agenda because we, as I said earlier on, that we thought Martin Wildbrow would be here, but this will remain on the agenda for the next meeting, so we can discuss with Martin Wildbrow the problems that we have with Kent County Council, especially roads, lighting, Eastbridge Road, and all these points will come up when we meet Martin Wildbrow. Okay, any other business?
I mentioned it to Jill, but I don't know whether anything happened. I presume it's Shepway has replaced a lot of the street signs, the nameplates for streets.
Yeah.
But there are there's some that they've missed. They've missed Eastbridge Road. They've missed the one on High Street outside the Bakers. The Fairway, I drove past it the other day and thought that one hasn't been replaced. I don't know if anybody else has observed any others around the village, because they've done the bulk of them, but there seems to be certain ones that they've missed.
So we'll get a list and we will
Yes.
give it to Shepway, and because the Dymchurch road sign, we had a problem with that. So that's going to be altered. So we'll get a list.
Yeah,
And so if there's any more councillors that you see,
anybody spots any,
the clerk know, and we will get a list over to Shepway to get them done.
because it just looks.
Yeah, untidy.
And some of them, I mean, the Eastbridge one happens to be outside my wall, so I noticed
So you
it.
want a new one?
But it is very old, and
Yeah.
it's very rusty, that one, unfortunately. Any joy with the planter, dear? Ongoing. Sorry.
What is the problem?
He's
I
really-
don't know. It was
the last
when I
time I
was
saw
in-
him with the planter, he was sending it off to be gathered.
That was a couple of months ago.
It's been a year, hasn't it?
No, 18 months.
18 months.
Yeah, it was due to go to planning, was always coming up.
That's what he told me,
Which is
so.
a
We will,
sitting room.
we will,
I know.
we will continue chasing it.
Oh,
Hopefully by next year it'll be in place.
Thank you.
Is that Gilly?
Yeah, yes, I mean, I was going to bring up this big road if Martin Whitebell turned up, but no,
I wonder why he's not here.
Oh, that's fine.
no.
Was there